making sure that they got the DocuSign deal pulled up on their phone and laptop, and they're in their living room celebrating from a laptop screen. So it's really cool though as the signatures roll in. You're FaceTiming the guys. They're just elated, having their signatures go through and everything being final. So it's so awesome. Just like we talked about, a lot of work goes into it. So. For some of these guys, you're talking 7 of the high schoolers are going to be here in about 3 weeks enrolling. So there's certainly a lot of celebration, and then they're like, oh man, it's time to go to work now. So, but awesome morning overall.
And as we said, this is a celebration. You can see the people behind us, everybody that helped collaborate on this upcoming class of recruits. And Justin, this is a huge moment for everybody involved in the recruiting process. And there's a whole lot of them. So tell us all the people that you collaborate with that makes this recruiting class possible at UVA.
Oh man, put me on the spot there because I'm going to forget somebody. But John, I think recruiting is so unique because it truly impacts everybody in our organization, right? I mean, not just the head coach, not just the position coaches, not just the recruiting staff. And I think from the outside, that's kind of what we think happens, but it impacts everybody, starting with the top, right? I mean, starting with Dr. Williams and then trickling down to Coach Elliott and then to our position coaches. But it's not just them. It's everybody from the grounds crew folks who got to paint the field on the official visit to, our strength coaches and trainers and nutrition folks and academics that got to sacrifice weekends to come in and do presentations. But it also impacts our school pilot that flies Coach Elliott around, right? It impacts our hotel staff for official visit folks, and special shout out to our recruiting staff. I mean, I think we have the best recruiting staff in the country. These folks work tirelessly, just day in, day out. But man, it's a unique deal because anybody that touches football in any capacity is going to touch recruiting, and at some point will be called on to be used in a recruiting capacity. So it's a kind of an exhausting deal at times, but man, it's so rewarding and it's awesome to be a part of.
It's Justin Sparrows, Director of Recruiting here at UVA, and you mentioned Dr. Williams. Dr. Carla Williams will be on our program later on talking about the upcoming Football Operations Center, which is completed in the spring. And we'll also hear from, of course, head coach Tony Elliott, who will recap this whole class. And Justin, before we get to the coordinators and the position coaches, tell us what our priorities were in this class of 18 players that you guys have brought in.
Yeah, I think anytime that you look at your priorities, right, you're trying to assess needs, like what are our top needs? And so, one of the big needs that we talked about as a coaching staff and as a recruiting staff are, okay, you got 110 catches walking out the door. How do you replace that, right? And so we feel phenomenal about what we have in-house to try and replace that. But adding a guy like Chris Tyree, you're talking about the leading receiver at a place like Notre Dame, who's from Virginia coming in, Tyler Neville, right, another Virginia guy, Tristan Ward, Cam Courtney, right? I think just pass catchers, that was a need from the get-go. Guys up front. We signed 3 high school guys up front, brought in a transfer to help protect our quarterback. That was obviously a big need. So, man, I think just assessing the needs from the get-go on the defensive line, right, trying to find guys that can go get the quarterback. We feel like we got a few of those. So, and then on the secondary as well. I mean, that's kind of how you assess it. There's always going to be needs across the board, but I think we did a good job of filling them.
Last question for you, and when we look at this day being a huge celebration, it's also not the finish line, right? Like, we're still looking for more players in this upcoming class, and the portal is very much open.
It is, and it's funny because you get a bunch of texts and calls today just saying like, man, you're at the finish line, congrats, and it's certainly a part of a finish line in some ways, but the transfer portal is wide open, like you said, and we're going to continue to evaluate there. And then also there's still high schoolers that aren't signed, and so we're going to go to work, maybe take a quick breather here for a few days, and then it's back to work. So excited to fill out the class though here the next few months.
Any holiday plans in the Sparrows household? A few days off, you said?
Few days. So actually, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So Casey and I, my wife, are flying to Hawaii here in a few days. So kind of wild, but I promise you, I'll be back for the official vid. That's the first week of January.
Do the people behind you know that you're going to Hawaii?
a few of them might know, but you know, it kind of came together last minute. So excited.
Justin, congrats on this class. Enjoy the trip, safe travels, and we'll see you when you're a little bit tanner in January.
Appreciate that, John.
That's Director of Recruiting Justin Sparrows. To kick it off, we got a whole lot coming up, and we'll start with Offensive Coordinator Des Kitchings. We'll start breaking down this class of 2024 when we come back on our signing day special.
Thanks, John.
Yes, sir. Nice job, partner. A natural. What's up, Coach? You know they run a show. We've done this before.
Check, check. Got me? Everything sounds good?
You get all these new weapons. Am ready. And welcome back to our signing day special here at the recruiting headquarters in Bryant Hall, attached to Scott Stadium. I'm John Freeman. And now we talk with offensive coordinator Des Kitchings for the Cavaliers as we celebrate this class of Wahoos. And Coach, congratulations. You got 9 new weapons on the offensive end. We'll talk about specifically your position group in a moment with the tight ends. But overall, how pleased are you with this class from an offensive standpoint as the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, we're extremely pleased with it because we believe we addressed the speed, adding speed at the playmaker position with the wide receivers and even in the tight end room, and then continue to build our depth and playmaking ability up front with these guys on the offensive line with the 3 high school guys and then adding in Drake Metcalf.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of these players, and we're going to go through all the other positions, but you are also the tight ends coach here at UVA. So let's take a look at some of the players that you've recruited, and we'll start with John Rogers, who one of the themes of this class is in-state guys, Episcopal high school guy, and somebody that we look to have a big impact here at Virginia.
Yeah, you know, John was a kid when evaluated in the spring. He came down to visit us for spring practices, liked his frame. He came to camp. And, you know, he's just a very quick twitch kid, highly competitive, plays on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, has a really good catch radius. So I think he can bring some vertical threat for us down the field as a tight end.
And his father played for the Washington Redskins. He's got a long athletic history in that family. He was a state finalist in the triple jump. Let's take a look at the tape. And you can see great ball skills, juggling touchdown on play number 1.
Yeah, he's a highly competitive kid. Some of the things he showed in camp and some of the one-on-one competitions we did. So excited to have him coming in here when he gets in June. And I really love this, playing on defense, right? The effort, the energy, the motor he plays with, right, would translate as a blocker on offense as well.
And he's also a leader. So he was a 2-time captain for Episcopal. He was also the class president at Episcopal High School.
So he's carrying the load there as a student, which would translate to UVA, and he's also excelled on the field.
Taking a look at more of his high school highlights.
Yeah, touchdown right here. Came up a little short, but that was a big catch. I think he's got, here's one run up the seam.
Looking at the tape of John Rogers, the all-state selection from Episcopal High School.
That was the game winner there, so that was big for him.
Football, baseball, and track.
And track,
athlete. So a 3-sport athlete. That's a big theme in this upcoming class. And the other theme is winners. We've noticed that a lot of these guys are playing in playoffs. They're in the state championships. And this is a recruiting class full of guys who know how to win.
Yeah, that's big. When you know the culture of our program, right? Keep bringing in winners from high school, easy to translate, and knowing that it's going to be hard work at the collegiate level. They've embraced that in their high school careers, so it makes a smoother transition for them for us.
All right, so now that was our first high school recruit. Let's take a look at the first transfer, and this is Tyler Neville. This is a big get. He is a Virginia native out of Lafayette High School, same high school as former tight end Case Luzar. Tyler Neville from Harvard. So we know he's a good student, too. Take us through what you liked about Tyler.
Yeah, same thing. You know, Tyler just has a tenacity as a blocker and also tenacity and skill as a pass catcher. And, you know, he wants to have an opportunity, kind of similar to Malik, to, you know, enhance his profile for the next level. And we have a great opportunity here for him. And he's coming in here to capitalize on that. But football guy, he loves football. He loves ball. That's what I love about him.
All right, let's take a look at the tape of Tyler Neville, Virginia's transfer tight end. We'll start with a big touchdown catch.
Just a little flattened wheel here, you know, in the corner. hopefully we see a lot of that at Scott Stadium next season. So
Neville had over 500 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns at Harvard, where he was a 2-time All-Ivy League selection. He also grew up a UVA fan. He attended games as a kid here in Scott Stadium.
So hopefully, not hopefully, he'll come in here and contribute to our success next year. He shared a video with me that he was here in 2019 when UVA beat Tech. So, just go try to duplicate that this upcoming season. But another guy, he's versatile. He can play attached as a tight end, a little shovel pass right here. He can play detached as a wide receiver, physical in the run game. So a guy that can play every snap for us. And
Tyler was hosted by Jared Raymond on his visit. They went to the lighting of the lawn, and he got the full UVA experience. Another thing that is so interesting and amazing about Tyler Neville, he is a cancer survivor. He's got a tremendous story of resilience.
Yes, very resilient. I think he's the third of 3 brothers. There's 4 brothers in the family. He's the third. So, he got beat up on a little bit growing up. I really met his mom and dad, and his mom, she's a tough nut too. I mean, she's on those guys hard. So you can tell he's been raised the right way, had to deal with some adversity, right? Overcome that, very appreciative of any opportunity he has in life. He's looking forward to his opportunity with us at UVA, and we're excited to have him.
All right, Coach, as Justin said, recruiting not necessarily done for the program yet, but any Christmas plans for you and your family?
On the sofa. Just kick back, relaxing, watching some, this will be the last. Hopefully, this is the last Christmas I'm sitting at home, right? Because next year, we're going to be in a bowl game. But I'm going to sit back and watch some of my buddies sweat it out in a bowl game, but I want to be sweated out next year in a bowl game. So.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate you coming by. Congratulations on this class, and looking forward to seeing what you do with them when they show up on grounds.
Thank you.
That's Des Kitchings, Virginia's offensive coordinator. We'll talk with some offensive coaches coming up, and we'll start with Adam Mims, wide receiver coach, when we return on our signing day special from Scott Stadium.
Hey, Tyler, Case Luzar here, wishing you congratulations from one Lafayette Ram to another, and now one Virginia Cavalier to another. So glad that you made the decision to come here. I've seen your name and heard about you for a long, long time. It was nice to finally meet you and your dad the other week, and to now know that you're coming here is great.
What's up, Coach?
What's going on? You been doing all right? Good.
All right, welcome back to our signing day special in Bryant Hall here in Scott Stadium. John Freeman joined now by wide receivers coach Adam Mims as we go through the Virginia offensive recruits who have signed today for this class of 2024. We got 9 of them, and we got 3 wide receivers. And Coach, you got a whole lot of weapons coming in. We're going to take a look at the tape in just a moment, but your general preview of this class of both high school kids and also a very special transfer.
Yeah, we got some good ones coming in. Extremely excited about the potential of a lot of these guys. They love football. They're playmakers. They're versatile. So we're extremely excited about the guys that we're bringing in.
All right, so let's take a look at the 3 wide receivers here in this class, and we'll start with a guy that we didn't even know was coming until, a few days ago or a couple weeks ago. It's Cameron Courtney, who we flipped from another power conference team. This is a big signing because he's also an in-state guy.
Absolutely. Dynamic, versatile player, does a lot of really, really good things, really on both sides of the ball in high school, where he's going to play receiver for us, and he's dynamic with the ball in his hands, and we're excited about him, especially with him being an in-state guy, too.
He took his official visit just last week. He was committed to another school. 4 other ACC schools offer him, so clearly he's got a lot of talent. Let's take a look at the tape. This guy is also a winner. So we'll start with one of my favorite highlights of the day. We'll take a look at a one-handed catch.
Yeah, this was a hell of a play right here. One-handed catch, shows great contact balance right here. Stays up, goes in for the score. You know, it just, you know, very, very Malik Washington-esque. You know, right here, you know, in the return game, shows his versatility. You know, one thing about Cam that's going to be so beneficial for him is that he can do so much. You know, this play right here, probably my favorite of all of his plays, just the ability to go up and get the ball. And then again, just showing his versatility in the return game, which is going to, again, just be beneficial for him and for us as a program, his ability to do so much.
Now you're going to recognize a field on this highlight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's Scott Stadium. That's a state championship. He won 2 of those.
He did. He's a 2-time back-to-back state champion. He played great, you know, here a couple weeks ago in the state championship. So we are just, you know, he's coming from a great program at Freedom, and he's a winner.
You mentioned a great program and him being a winner. About 29 consecutive wins for Cameron Courtney in Freedom High School.
Yeah, he knows how to win, which is good.
Sure does. All right, let's take a look at another wide receiver in this class. It is Tristan Ward. We got him out of Massachusetts from Deerfield Academy, 6'1", 185. Probably the fastest player in this class. Would you agree with that?
He can run. He can run, and that's one thing that we wanted to bring in, is speed, and he is a 10-5 guy. He can run.
Yeah, let's take a look at the tape of Tristan Ward from Deerfield Academy. He chose UVA over 3 other ACC schools that offered him a scholarship, and see the breakaway speed there. Simple slant. He's going to the house.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just the ability to catch the ball early, pull away from people, using his speed. Again, another guy that's going to help us out in the return game and the special teams. You can see it right here with his ability to just create a big play, you know, something out of nothing, and then he just uses his speed to pull away from people, and again, just kind of you know, showing his ability to run. You know, and again, speed is something that was vital for us in this recruiting class. So, and I think that we did a pretty good job of bringing some guys in that can run.
And he's going to fit in at this school too. He's from one of the most rigorous prep schools academically in the entire country in Deerfield Academy.
Absolutely, yeah. I think his transition is going to be pretty seamless. You know, very similar to a college lifestyle. So I think he's going to be ready. I think he's going to be prepared.
And if he needs to know what it's like to be a college athlete, all he's got to do is ask Dad or his brother, who ran track at Duke, an athletic family.
Absolutely.
Those are your 2 high school recruits. Let's take a look at the guy you got in the transfer portal, Chris Tyree from Notre Dame, also by way of Thomasdale High School here in Virginia. I'll ask you a simple question. Is he the next Malik Washington?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. You know, we of course, we're going to miss a lot without Malik being with us this year. But, you know, I think Chris is going to be able to step in and be able to provide a lot of the production that Malik had. Not necessarily looking for another Malik Washington, but somebody who can be as productive and successful as Malik was. And he's already proven it at a high level, which is really nice.
Yeah, so you signed teenagers in this class, and then you signed Chris Tyree, who's 22 years old as of this month. Let's take a look at his tape, and it's going to be a little less grainy than some of the other high school tapes. This is legit college football tape, and you see the big Notre Dame logo there at midfield. He can do it all. We start with the punt return.
Yeah, Chris is he's a special talent. You know, incredible young man, loves football. You can see right here just his ability in the return game, punt return and kick return, but also his ability to stretch the field vertically, like he's doing right here. And he's got tremendous speed as well. He's another one that can run, that can do a lot. You know, he's going to be extremely versatile. You know, he came into Notre Dame as a running back and was successful there, but made the transition to receiver and led the team in receiving last year. So he's going to be able to do a lot for us going forward, and I'm really excited to just get to work with him.
Yeah, Chris Tyree, over 1,000 rushing yards, over 1,000 return yards, over 800 receiving yards.
Yeah.
At Notre Dame, a former #1 player in his class.
Yeah,
here at Virginia.
Truly all-purpose. You know, he does it all, and we are excited. We can't wait to do everything with him.
Could he catch 100 passes this year?
I hope so.
Malik Washington did, and Chris Tyree going to fill in that role. Could he line up in the backfield too?
I think he could.
In the way that Malik Washington does?
I think he's going to be able to line up just about anywhere. So we're excited about him.
All right, you got a bunch of new weapons. Do you get to relax a little bit now that you've recruited these 3 guys, or is it right back to work?
I don't know if it ever stops, to be quite honest with you. And, you know, we might not be done yet. So
you enjoying your first year as a full-on position coach now?
It's been phenomenal. Great kids, great staff, great people around here. So I'm truly blessed to be in this position.
Kick back tonight a little bit?
A little bit. My plans: hop on a flight, head back to Birmingham, see some family, and kind of relax a little bit, and then it's back to it.
Have a great holiday.
I appreciate it.
And congrats
Thank you so
on these
much.
3 guys and some big hits. You said maybe some more coming too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll be checking the socials.
All right.
That's Adam Mims, wide receiver coach for the Who's. Next, we'll talk with Terry Heffernan, offensive line coach, and he'll preview all of the offensive linemen coming in here on our signing day special for UVA's class of 2024. And our signing day celebration continues at Scott Stadium in the recruiting headquarters of Bryan Hall. Glad to have you back with us. I'm John Freeman, and now we are talking offensive linemen as Virginia bringing in 4 offensive linemen in this class of 2024. And who better to talk about it than Terry Heffernan, offensive line coach here at UVA. And Coach, your first year at it here recruiting for UVA. What was the recruiting process like wearing those V-Sabres?
Yeah, I haven't been here a full year yet. It was good. You know, it was fast. You got to make up a little bit of time when you're not already started at this point on a class. But I think we had some good leads and we're able to make some good inroads and find kids that fit this program, fit this university, and can really help us in the future.
What are you looking for when you're scouting offensive linemen?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. You know, so there's particular traits you're kind of seeking out. Athleticism is first and foremost. For me, you have to be able to move your feet and bend your knees to be able to play offensive line successfully and protect the quarterback and stay in front of people in the run game. You got to be a certain size. You know, I don't get too stuck on those parameters, but you have to be big enough to hold the point. And you know, then you're looking for the off the field traits of competitiveness, intelligence, dependable, and you know, how can you equate those things and how can you find those things in prospects that are big enough, athletic enough, and strong enough.
And you made some trips to the Midwest to get some guys.
Yeah,
so
familiar territory for me.
Let's take a look at Virginia's offensive line recruits here in this class of 2024, and we'll start with Grant Ellinger from Illinois. Blue-collar, Midwest guy, low maintenance, can play multiple positions.
That's right. Yeah, so Grant's from Chicago area. His dad and I actually grew up in the same town, Arlington Heights, so outside of Chicago, so it's familiar territory. Was able to get on his tape early and just loved his versatility, how much he could bend his knees, get under the defender's pads, how athletic he was in his movement skills. And then you meet Grant and you start to talk to him, and you talk to the people at the high school, and his character, his work ethic, how he approaches his business. I fell in love with the kid as a player, as a prospect.
There was a newspaper article written about Grant Ellinger, and the local newspaper said he is, quote, nasty. So let's see it on the tape.
Okay.
About every single block that you're going to see on this tape, some poor high school kid is ending up on his back with Grant Ellinger on top of him.
Yeah. No, I don't know if his mom, Julie, would appreciate him that being described solely as nasty, but he is. That's how he plays. And, these games he's trying to throw this guy off the sideline. What's impressive is he's a big person, and he moves with balance, he moves with power, and then that's the desire to finish his defender into the ground. And, I had the opportunity to watch him play live this year, and certainly saw all of his junior tape, and that's not a one game. It's not against the big rival. That's just who he is as a person. That's how he wakes up with that competitiveness.
Played for Coach Mike Ulrich at Naperville Central, and he is going to be enrolling early. So he's committed in the summer, and he's going to be here, next month?
Yeah, he'll be here in a couple weeks.
How about that?
Yeah, he's chomping at the bit. He's taking his last high school final, and he'll be transitioning to being a college student here in a couple weeks.
All right, we'll stay in the Midwest, taking a look at Virginia's next signee, and it's Dane Walensky from Dublin Jerome High School in Ohio. Big guy who can move, and another blue-collar Midwest guy.
Yeah, I love blue collar. I'm a Midwesterner myself, Dane is from Columbus, Ohio, another place I've recruited a lot. The league he plays in is a really good football league, and he came across my desk, and just you're watching your tape and you're saying, wow, this is a really big, athletic, multi-sport athlete kid. He's 6'6", he's 275 pounds. He's playing, long stick in lacrosse. He's wrestling. He's played basketball in high school. He's a guy, I think there's going to be a ton of development for him when he's playing one sport at the college level. So just really excited about his future, but he's a tough, competitive kid who's embraced a ton of different sports, and really excited to get my hands on him.
Let's see that athleticism when we take a look at his tape, and we've used the term nasty. It's another guy with some nastiness in it.
Yeah, there's clear edge on this tape, and he's trying to certainly accomplish his responsibility, but with some violence and putting people on the ground and looking to finish. And there's an edge in just talking to Dane. He's got it naturally. He comes from a football family, and like I said, he's spent his time competing in all these other sports. It's going to be really exciting to see when he's able to put all that effort towards football.
And he knows what the college football life is like because his father played big-time football at Purdue.
He sure did. Yep, he sure did. Played at Purdue, and grandfather on his mom's side played at Bowling Green. So we had a lot of connections as Midwesterners and football people through those things.
All right, so Dane Walensky from Ohio, your second Midwest recruit. And now let's turn in-state. So you go to Lake Braddock High School here in Virginia, diamond in the rough in offensive lineman Ben York.
Yeah, no, I think diamond in the rough is a good phrase. When I got here, Dane had come on a junior day the weekend prior to my arrival, and you see his measurables, and the first thing that jumps out at you is his length. As an offensive lineman, the longer your arms are, the easier it is to press and keep the defender off your pad. And he's got almost an 84-inch wingspan, which is rare. And then you watch his tape, and he's playing closer to 250 pounds as a junior, but his athleticism explodes off that. And then being able to meet him in person and evaluate his frame, and hey, can he get big enough? Well, shoot, he's 285 pounds now already, and should be in the class of 25. He's young. I joke with him that his parents kicked him out of the house and sent him to kindergarten at the first possible opportunity. But he's almost a year younger than everybody else in his class.
Yep.
So there's a lot of development for this young man.
Ben York going to be 17 years old when the season starts and camp starts in August. Let's take a look at his high school tape. This coming from Lake Braddock High School, where he helped them to the state semifinals in big 6A football here in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, they had a heck of a year. It was fun watching this team go. And, Ben played some defense and he played right tackle for him. And, had the opportunity to watch him play live twice, once in the playoffs and once in the regular season. And just his athleticism and his ability to win in pass protection with just his length and his athleticism is what excites you. He can get play side leverage and good positioning, by just exploding off the ball. And he's a tough dude and he loves football.
He was a trendsetter for this class. He was the second Virginian to commit. Ethan Minter, who we'll talk about later when we get to the defensive side of the ball, was the first, but he helped build this class by being one of the first guys in April.
No question. And I think Ben, we built a good relationship pretty quickly, and I think Ben came down and saw campus multiple times and just felt comfortable here and said, enough chasing things. This is what I want. And committed to us and was a rock in this class from very early on.
That's Ben York, one of Virginia's 6 in-state commitments here on signing day. And he obviously from high school. Let's take a look now at the transfer portal and Drake Metcalf. You got a long history with this guy all the way back in your days to Stanford, although he is coming technically, his last school was UCF.
Yeah, he had a little stop off at UCF, but I was able to coach and be Drake's position coach at Stanford for 2 years. And so we've got a ton of shared experience. So you go into the transfer portal, there's a lot of unknown and got a lot of speed dating that occurs over the course of, you're watching a highlight tape and then you're sitting in front of a kid and then it's a week and he's making his decision. And that's certainly not the case with Drake and I. We've had a lot of shared experiences and I know what I'm getting in him and he knows what he's getting in me as a position coach. And I think that's important.
So let's see the video. Let's see the video, and it will start and conclude with him playing center, but he also can play multiple positions, including guard, right?
Yeah. So we have tackles and then inside guys, and Drake's an inside guy. I mean, he can play both guards and the center spot. So he started at Stanford. He started at guard against Notre Dame in a game we won 2 years ago. He's a competitor. Played it for a great high school program. Won a national title there. Was the #1 ranked team in the country, and tough, smart, dependable football player.
You said smart. He interned in the office of Condoleezza Rice. He got his degree from Stanford, one of the best universities in the country, in just 3 years. I hear he can also play the bagpipes. Have you heard him play the bagpipes?
Yeah, he can play the guitar. He's pretty good there, too. Yes, I have heard him play the bagpipes. He did it in a team meeting at Stanford, so it was a big hit. And it doesn't take too much coaxing to get him to bring him out. So I'm sure he'll have to show that skill off for his teammates here at Virginia soon.
He's not a one and done, right? He's got 2 years of eligibility.
2 years left. And when I was coaching him at Stanford, I kind of wanted him to slow down. Hey, don't be rushing through this. And now that I'm got him for 2 years at Virginia, thank goodness he did it. So he was smarter than I was in not taking my advice.
All right, can't wait for him to get here along with all your other recruits. And do you get a little time off here, or is it right back to work?
No, we're fortunate to get some time off. We've got a great schedule here from Coach Elliott, and excited to, recruit my kids back a little bit, my wife, spend some time with them. So it's been a lot of travel, but really looking forward to the holidays and kind of recharging the batteries for what we've got coming in January.
And lastly, we didn't even mention, big announcement today, Brian Stevens announced that he is returning, your starting offensive lineman from last year.
Yeah, and if you talk about excitement going forward in our group, I think I'd be remiss without starting with the guys who chose to come back. I return every single start from a year ago in that room, and it's a group that believes in themselves, and we know we've got to improve, and we've got a lot of work to do. But I think it starts with those guys making the decision to come back and building that culture.
All right, Coach F. Congrats on this class of guys. Looking forward to seeing them when they hit it.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
That's Coach Terry Hefner. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Keith Gaither and Taylor Lamb, Cavalier offensive coaches, quarterbacks, running backs, and special teams. We'll talk about their units when we come back on our signing day special from Bryan Hall and Scott Stadium. on our signing day special as we welcome in 18 players in the new class of the Virginia football program, the class of 2024. I'm John Freeman, excited to be with you here on this afternoon before Christmas. And now we get to talk to some of the guys who didn't have any new recruits coming in, but certainly have some guys to work with moving forward. It's running backs coach Keith Gaither, also special teams coordinator Keith Gaither, and then Taylor Lamb, quarterbacks coach. And first of all, guys, big day for you. How's it feel?
Feels great. We're excited about the class that we brought in. First, we'd like to take our hats off to the recruiting staff, KD, Sparrows. Their staff did a tremendous job of being on the front line of this class, and then the whole coaching staff have done a good job of hitting the battlefield, recruiting throughout the season.
Hey, Taylor, ask you a question here about recruiting. You got to recruit your own roster every single year.
Correct. Yep.
We got them back.
Yep.
Anthony Calandria coming back. Obviously, Tony Muskett staying too. That's a big win for you guys. Any college football program that can bring in 2 quarterbacks who started games and keep them for another year is an exceptional accomplishment.
No doubt. I mean, you're turned into recruiting your own roster, and you know, those were 2 big guys for us this year, and won us some games. So excited to have those guys back.
Coach Gaither, how about the running back room?
We're excited to bring back our class with Colby Pace, Xavier Brown, Jack Greasy, and then we got 2 freshmen that was redshirted, and Noah Vaughn and Dante Hawthorne. So we feel really good about those 5 guys, and hopefully we have a great offseason and transition to spring ball.
And Coach Gaither, will keep it with you. Special teams. So a lot of these new recruits are coming in. Who do you see potentially having an impact on special teams? And for some of them, is that their first way to prove themselves and get on the field?
Well, I'll start with the guys that have come here in January. Start with Chris Tyree. First and foremost, he's a kid that has played at a high level at Notre Dame and had a lot of production as a receiver, as a running back, and as a kick returner and punt returner. So we get a guy that has real speed, that can be electric and dynamic in the kicking game. And then you bring in Cam Courtney to bring tremendous position flexibility. He's also a punt returner. So those 2 guys get an opportunity early in spring ball. And then when you think about Tristan Ward, he's a 10-7 speed guy that's also a returner. So we feel really good about those guys. And then you think about John Rogers, who's very dynamic as a tight end, who help us on the core special teams. So I think we did a good job of addressing some needs on offense, but these guys will help us instantly on special teams.
All right, so that's the special teams outlook. Coach Lamb, how about the quarterback room? You got 2 guys who started games. What does the upcoming quarterback battle look like in the spring and then all the way into fall camp between Anthony Calandria and Tony Muskett?
Yeah, it's going to be super competitive, very competitive, and you always want to go into every year having a competition. It's more of a what have you done for me lately business. And so we'll go through spring competing all the way through summer and get to the end through fall camp. And we got 2 really, really good quarterbacks to choose from.
All right, guys, what are the Christmas plans in the Gaither and Lamb household?
Well, we'll start here. We'll have Christmas here in Virginia. Then we'll transition to Cincinnati, spend some time with my son in Cincinnati. Then we'll transition to Illinois with my wife's family. Then we'll come on back. So a lot of traveling with the Gators family.
How many different places was that? It was 3 different places before you get back to Charlottesville?
Yes, sir.
How about you, Coach Lamb?
Yeah, so we'll my wife and my son we'll do DC for a day. Haven't been up there on leisure up there yet, so we'll do DC for a day this weekend, and then after Christmas we'll head to Tennessee to see some family.
Sounds like a good holiday for all you guys. Congrats on everything that you've done in this recruiting class, and looking forward to seeing what you guys do next year, especially since you re-recruited your own roster and you got so many of the big contributors back.
Thank you, John.
That's Coach Gaither and Coach Lamb. And as we all know, in college athletics and especially college football, NIL plays a huge part in recruiting and retaining a roster. So let's take a look at how NIL efforts are working right here at the University of Virginia.
This is a call to action for our football program, no doubt about it, which in turn makes it a call to action for our entire athletics program. Now it's the time to invest in NIL. It's time to go all in. We don't have a choice. We have to be in the game. One thing I do know is that when we do it, we'll do it the right way. We'll do it the Virginia way.
We want to compete at the very highest level, but we want to do it in the right way. And the approach that we're taking to NIL is completely consistent with that theme. What we are trying to do with CAV Futures is to provide educational and experiential benefits to our student athletes. I mean, that's what UVA is all about, and that's why the collective, CAV Futures, is so important.
NIL should not exclude Virginia from having a seat at the table. We've earned a seat at the table. You know, there's so much uncertainty about our industry, but what I do know is that we've got a great institution with a great history. Virginia attracts great people. But this hurdle, this is a hurdle that we can't clear without help.
From my seat, as fast as it's changing, the way it's happening, it is a call to action. I want to be able to first recruit the high school player, develop the high school player, retain the guys that are on my roster, not trying to be like everybody else, to do it the way we're going to do it at Virginia in terms of the connection with the community. I believe we can be competitive.
CAV Futures' mission from day one is not only how can we help the starting point guard or the quarterback of the football team, but how can we help the other 99%? And the way that we do that is we want to use their name, image, and likeness while they're wearing the orange and blue and the V-Sabres to be able to make a difference in the lives of the community here in Charlottesville, but also to help mentor them and build their lifetime brand as well. We've got to be the best Virginia that we can be.
Please. And welcome back to Scott Stadium, the recruiting headquarters here in Bryan Hall, and to take a look at NIL here at the University of Virginia as we celebrate this upcoming class of 2024. We've talked with Virginia's offensive coaches. We'll talk with the defensive coaches and, of course, head coach Tony Elliott in a moment. But first, let's welcome in the athletics director here at the University of Virginia. That is Dr. Carla Williams. And Dr. Williams, first of all, this is a big day for the University of Virginia athletic program. Signing day is one of the biggest days on the calendar. What's it like from your perspective?
Oh, I love it. It's very similar to graduation. You know, you see young people and they have dreams and they have goals and they have hopes, and for a lot of kids, it's to be able to play their sport in college. And so being able to play football at the University of Virginia is a dream come true for these young men, and so I'm thrilled for them.
And we've seen the NIL video, but we'll take a look at the Football Operations Center video in just a moment. All of these recruits are going to get to enjoy that facility, some of them for the entirety of their college career. How excited are you for this upcoming Football Operations Center? Because you look out your window every single day at the construction, isn't that right?
Yes, so I get a chance to see it. I've watched it come out of the ground for the last 18 months, and so we'll move in June of 24 this spring. So we're excited for that, for our current student athletes. We're excited for our recruits to be able to move into that facility as well. It's been a long time coming. It's going to be one of the best in the country, and we're really excited.
How much of an impact will it have in your mind in recruiting? How important are facilities to high school athletes that you talk to who are considering UVA?
Well, it shows the commitment. It shows that the University of Virginia is committed to Virginia football. I mean, it's a 90,000 square foot facility, over $90 million invested in the facility, and so it shows that we really care about our football program, and we intend on being a competitor nationally with our football program. And so this facility is just one sign of that.
And it's been going up every single day. Let's take a look at the Football Operations Center. It is close to completion. It'll be opening this spring. We'll start with the renderings, and then we'll actually get into the building. This is a dream come true for you. This is one of the first things that was on your agenda when you got here.
Right. I mean, when I got here in 2017, I saw that there was a great need for the facility. There had been conversations about it previously, and so we just went into overdrive to try to get it done as quickly as possible. We've gotten a ton of support from our donors, from the university, our supporters, university officials, and so it's been a complete team effort to get thus far, and there will be a lot of excited people when we move in there in June.
There it is, almost complete. You have a favorite part of the facility at all? A spot that's special to your heart?
You know, I just went through it last week, and I had not been through in several weeks, and it just looks phenomenal. So I love all of it. I'm really excited that our players will have a home, a place where they can thrive and grow and develop, you know, athletically, academically. There'll be spaces in there for them, nutrition. So everything that they need to be a successful student athlete at UVA will be in this facility. So we're just very, very excited to be able to move in.
And you mentioned some of them earlier. Who are all the people that you have to thank for this facility?
Well, first, you know, President Ryan, you know, he has been a huge supporter of athletics, and in particular a huge supporter of Virginia football. And so this facility, we're able to see this come to fruition because of his support, because of the board. We've had several rectors over the last 4 years that have been huge supporters as well.
And this football program's success is dependent on a whole lot of people, those behind us and then also those who are watching at home. So we saw the NIL video with Cavalier Futures. What can you say about the impact of NIL on this program and where it needs to go moving forward?
Yeah, I think, you know, Cav Futures is the official collective for Virginia athletics, and Lo Davis and his staff, they've done a phenomenal job of marketing and educating and promoting what they do. They do it differently from just about any other place in the country, in that our student athletes are heavily involved in the community. And so that's a benefit for not just the student athletes, but especially for our community.
All right, we got this huge recruiting class coming in. Spring sports are on the way. Winter sports are in full swing. Does Dr. Carla Williams get any time off for the holidays? And if so, what are the plans?
So yes, I'll get a little bit of time off here and go with my family to see the rest of our family in Georgia. So we'll get a few days off and head back up here for our basketball game after Christmas.
All right, we'll have a wonderful holiday, and we saw all the results of your efforts, and we're so excited for everything moving forward this spring.
Yep, thank you.
That's Dr. Carla Williams. It's our signing day special. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about the defensive players in this class of 2024 as we celebrate all the new Wahoos, 18 new players on the Virginia football roster. We'll be right back from Bryant Hall in Scott Stadium. great day to be Oahu. We got 18 new football players that are going to be wearing orange and blue. Some of them starting in January for early enrollment, and many of them arriving in July or August to get their career started here in Charlottesville. We're going to celebrate all of them today. We've already gone over 9 different players on the offensive end, and now we turn to the defensive side of the football. And who better to talk about it than defensive coordinator John Rosinski, who joins us. And Coach, you got 9 new guys coming in. You got to be excited about this class.
It's an unbelievable group of young men that when Coach Elliott has us go out and find these great young men across the country, particularly, here in the state, what he's looking for great football players. And I think each one of these young men that are joining this group here at the University of Virginia, they exemplify what being a great football player is. Also, they do a tremendous job away from the football field as student. And so we're excited to get these young men, some of them here in a few weeks, and then some of them here in June.
And we'll go through the positions and their position coaches. But we're going to start with 3 guys that I want you to talk about. And we'll start with Keyshawn Kiki Adams from Avon Farms in Connecticut. He's an enrolling early guy, one of the many guys that are enrolling early. 7 of your 14 high school players, both offense and defense, are enrolling early. What do you like about Kiki Adams?
Well, Kiki, you see, his ability to get off of blocks, his physicality, and his athleticism speaks for itself. A young man that has been honored, is one of the best players in the region. And again, you just look at his ability to stay on top of routes, and then his physicality in the run game. And so he's going to be a great addition to the back end. Excited to see not only him contribute on defense, but also on special teams.
He's got one of my favorite highlight tapes. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. The thing that comes to mind for me is a young prime time, and you'll get it when I get to the final highlight here, but we'll start with him making plays on the defensive side, and then we'll also see some special offensive plays.
Oh, I mean, you love him getting off a block and then finishing, and that's what we talk about on defense. It's all about finish on the football. Another great example, I mean, look at the physicality, coming downhill and bringing the wood.
As a guy that had offers from several other ACC schools. Big weight room guy, already doing personal training workouts that he's been posting on social media. It's a hard-working guy.
Yeah, and again, ball skills. I mean, when you look at DBs, you got to see guys that can track the football. And you can see examples here of him as a receiver, but then right here in coverage, getting in phase, and then doing a great job playing late hands and eyes.
3-time All-New England selection. And I think we got one more highlight. Here's the prime time. He wears number 21. Is he allowed to carry the ball like that?
Oh, goodness gracious. Keith and Coach Elliott, they're not going to like to see those ball skills. You got to put that thing away, high and tight.
He was almost high-stepping at the 30-yard line. He wears Dion's number, and he sure looked like it there on that punt return. So that's Kiki Adams from Connecticut. Now we move to the cornerbacks. Kevon Gray from Creekside High School in Georgia. This guy's a ball hawk.
Yeah, Kevon, I mean, you just look at his ability as far as, just top-end speed. Also, again, his change of direction. 2 skill sets. When you look for a corner, you look for guys that they're elite in those areas. Also super physical. Had a chance to watch him play, and he demonstrated all of those skills, along with being a great young man that is going to bring great leadership into the locker room.
Yeah, let's take a look at his tape. A rangy player, a cornerback who stands 6'1", had offers from 30 different schools, including FSU, and he chose UVA.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that went to an unbelievable program there at Creekside. Played a high level, played in the state championship here this year. I tell you what, I was on the sideline here for this one, and it's fun when you can play with guys that have great ball skills, that want to make plays, and shoot a great example as far as the skill set that is going to come and contribute at a high level. Right here on the slot, you're always looking for a guy that could potentially even be a nickel, and he's a guy that can do multiple things defensively for us.
This is Kevon Gray from Creekside High School in Georgia. This is against some of the best high school competition that you can find here in Georgia. He led his team all the way to the state finals, as you said, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. And again, right here, good situational awareness, knowing where he is on the football field, and finishing. All about the finish. Right, John? Got to finish.
All right, let's talk about a guy that is going to start his career at UVA in a different position. This is the athlete Ethan Minter, Thomasdale High School here in Virginia. He's going to enroll early. He was a high school quarterback. You project him as a defensive back, your first commit in this class of 2024.
Yeah, what a great, again, addition for our group. I know that we're fighting offense and defense as far as where's he going to go. But I know Ethan will be, he's a great learner, being a quarterback, been super productive. And then he even too made that transition here this fall, playing some more defense. So it'll be great to get him in early. It'll be great for him to work with Coach Smotherman and the training staff, and then transition into spring ball, which is going to give him a leg up as far as being able to contribute here this fall.
Ethan Minter, one of 6 in-state players in this upcoming class. Let's see his highlight tape, and you're going to see a whole lot of him playing the quarterback position.
Well, a quarterback, what he's going to do, he's going to have a great, again, feel for the game. He's also going to have big-time perspective when it comes to coverage. And so there'll be a learning curve, anyone that you transition positionally. But one of those things that Coach Elliott saw was one of the first guys that he saw in this class. He evaluated him. He saw him in some jeans in the gym, and he went up and dunked that basketball. And I think Coach E was sold after that. So, but again, you just look at this film. I mean, he shows power as a ball carrier. And again, we're excited about this athleticism. And then also, another young man from the Virginia that's going to, be excited here to play for his flag school. And
he's a winner when the highlight tape has a whole lot of brown grass in it. That means he's leading his team deep into the playoffs.
Deep.
There's a guy that went 11-1 as a senior, 10-2 as a junior. And as you said, you project him as a safety, is that right?
A safety, yeah. I mean, he's a winner, and he's going to be somebody that's going to help us win a bunch of games here at Virginia.
All right, Coach, what's the few days of, is there even an off season anymore in college football? We'll call it a few off days.
I mean, I hopefully the Elf didn't, find too many problems with the kids at the Rudzinski house. Sprinkles, I'm sure, found a few flaws with the Ruds, but hopefully Santa or somebody, pops down that chimney.
You got 5 kids. You have to do some online shopping.
Yeah, I guess my wife does.
All right, Coach. Congratulations on this upcoming class and all your success here.
All right, thanks, John.
I appreciate you.
Go
That's
Hoos.
John Rudzinski, defensive coordinator here at UVA. Next, we'll talk some more defensive backs with defensive backs coach Jerome Cox. But first, a message from a former Virginia defensive back who just got a Hall of Fame jacket this year.
What's up, future Wahoos? Rondé Barber, man. Just want to welcome the class of 2024 to the Wahoo family. You're going to have a great time here. Trust me. You'll be your best version of yourself. See y'all soon.
And we continue to talk Virginia's defensive recruits now in our signing day special, and we'll stay in the defensive backfield, and we welcome in Jerome Cox, defensive backs coach here at UVA, and we've got 2 transfers that we're going to talk about. And Coach, you've been hitting the portal hard here in the last couple weeks. What's it been like?
It's been an experience. You're learning a lot. Obviously, who we are as a program. We just got to, kind of rebuild our program and do that the right way, but we're looking for the right young man as we're doing it. So that's why we're hitting it as deep, because we want to be as thorough as we can with this process.
Yeah, and UVA, obviously a very tough academic school. So we look at the Ivy League for some guys, and we're going to start with Kendron Smith, cornerback transfer from Penn, who had a great career at Penn and now coming to Charlottesville here. What do you like about his game?
Well, the versatility. One, I like the way first thing he asked us when he got here was challenged at the academic piece about he wants to learn and how can we grow his game in that perspective as well. One of the things that's unique about him is his actually position coach in college. I had a chance to work with and coach him as well, so he spoke so highly of the young man.
All right, so let's take a look at the tape of Kendron Smith, cornerback from Penn. And I'm curious, how many corner blitzes are you going to allow him out of your defense? He's got a whole lot in his highlight package.
Oh, yeah, you see him doing it here, right, as well. Getting guys on the ground. We like that, the versatility. See him here in a good stance. And you like that part, finishing the ball. Number one thing, premise of defense is just finishing.
It's a guy that is a Charlotte native, two-time All-Ivy League selection at Penn. Only played 33 collegiate games, so he had a season canceled because of COVID. He had another season where he had an injury. So he's really looking forward, I imagine, to a full slate here in Charlottesville.
Oh, yeah, he is. We're excited about the opportunity to work with him. You know, like I said, he had a chance to continue on and go try the NFL, but he felt that what we do here as a program defensively could help just give him a better opportunity moving forward.
That's 6'1", 205 corner or safety for you guys, or you've decided yet?
He'll decide that. I think obviously we like to have those guys and grow. Obviously, Cohen King did a tremendous job. He went from safety to corner. So I just think this guy gives us the opportunity to just go in, and he's going to get here early for us, and we'll get a lot of reps into him in the spring.
Yeah, that's Kendron Smith from Penn, and now we look at another transfer coming in. This time it's safety Corey Thomas from Akron. What did you like about him?
Well, as soon as I saw him, I was like, wow. I mean, this guy's young, long, he looks the part, and just, again, feedback knowing his position coach, coached him in college, and just said the kid loves to work. Loves to work. He comes from a winning program. Again, gives us that versatility. He'll blitz. He could play high. He could play low. He'll set edges. And again, tremendous young man.
Guy who spent 5 years playing for the Zips of Akron. He's got one more year of eligibility. Let's take a look at what he's done already in his college career in his highlight package. And you'll see his ability to break on the football, the athleticism, and then also the length. He's 6'4", 215.
And can bend, can move. Obviously communicates well. You see him all over the field right here. Not afraid to set that edge and get in and finish violent. Not just finish, but violently finish. Here you see him in man coverage. Again, one of the things we're going to get an opportunity to do, you got safeties that can cover like that and then finish, knowing the routes. I'm excited to work with him, and he's really a talent.
This is a guy that was one of the highest rated safeties by Pro Football Focus in the portal. Also not too worried about the leap in competition. He's played Ohio State, Auburn, Tennessee, a lot of big non-conference games for Akron. I imagine you looked at those tapes when you saw him.
Oh, yeah. And again, like I said, the young man competed in all levels. Didn't matter what the opponent was. He was true to who he is. And then now he gets an opportunity to do it at an elite level. The ACC is, I mean, play after play, he's better be ready because we got him coming here this league, in this conference as well.
All right, so a bunch of guys coming in, safeties and corners, and some of them coming in early. But before they come, you've got a little special trip coming up. Is that right?
Oh, I don't even ask no more. I just know as soon as my wife, we get done seeing the families, we're going on a cruise. She told me don't mess it up this year. I believe we're going on a parents only. So it'll be the first one without our young children,
okay.
4 daughters. And we're going to, I think, Mexico somewhere and Honduras, and the rest I'd mess up, so I'm not going to say.
You have no idea where you're going. You're just getting on a boat.
Happy wife, happy life.
Perfectly said. Coach, congratulations on this recruiting haul. Enjoy the trip.
Thank you.
Once you find out where you're going.
I know. I'll have my Zoom ready in case we got to make some calls.
All right. That's Jerome Cox. We'll continue to talk defense. We'll talk with Kevin Downing and the defensive tackles when we come right back on our signing day special.
Thanks.
Here in our signing day special, talking about the defensive recruits for the Virginia Cavaliers. 18 players committed, 14 high schoolers, 4 transfers, 9 of them on the defensive side of the ball. And let's go to the defensive line and talk here with Coach Kevin Downing. And Coach, we got one guy that I'm really excited to talk about. Tyler Simmons from Florida. This is one of the most freaky athletic players in this class. I'll give you some stats on him, then I want you to talk about him. 265 pounds, 4'6", 40-yard dash. How does that even work? How does 265 run a 4'6"?
Yeah, he's a big kid that's been blessed. He can run, he's athletic. Super excited about the kid he is, though. He comes from a really good family. He's what we want, you know, as a person and a player. So just super excited about the opportunity to help him grow and be the player that he wants to be.
Yeah, we'll talk about players that are also coming back, a big one, and Jamir Carter. But let's take a look at Tyler Simmons, the defensive tackle prospect here for Virginia, who signed today. And, boy, his highlight tape, you'll see him living in the backfield.
Yeah, that's exciting, you know, looking to bring some of that in Scott Stadium. But, you know, he's a kid that comes from a really good pedigree, of course. His dad was an All-American, you know, played in the NFL. Crazy story is I had a poster of his dad on my bedroom wall as a high school player. So just funny how it comes full circle. But this kid loves football. He's sudden. He's a kid that has pass rush ability, which we're excited about. And he's a kid that's just excited to get better. And I'm excited that he wants to be a Cavalier. It was something he was super excited about. Looking forward to just growing him and be the player that he wants to be.
You mentioned his father, Brian, played 9 years in the NFL. Is a Carolina alum, and we somehow got him away from the Tar Heels. His father is also on the UNC football radio crew, so we know he'll be in attendance when we face UNC next year. But let's talk about Mom, too. Mom, Rachel, has a PhD. Education, very important to this young man.
Yeah, it is, and Miss Rachel has done a phenomenal job with Tyler, and she's a no-nonsense lady now, and she loves football now, loves it. So I'm excited about Tyler. Can't wait to get him here and coach him, and excited that he's part of the Hoop family.
265 pounds with a 4'6", 40. Is he going to campaign for any carries on the offensive side of the ball if the tush-push comes into play?
Well, that'll be a question for Coach E and Dez. But he did carry the ball a little bit this year, but I'm just excited he's going to be lining up a 3 technique for us.
For
trying
sure.
to get out to the quarterback.
And a guy that you got back that is huge news. A weight room monster, the anchor of the defense, Jamir Carter, coming back for one more year. Tell us about that decision.
Yeah, I'm just super excited to have Ja back, Big Ja. And, you know, I was talking to Tyler. The thing I'm most excited about is, you know, the young kids in our room, when you talk about Tyler and Jason Hammond and Anthony Britton, those kids get to learn from Jamir Carter another year. And I've never been around a kid who's more intentional than Ja. I was downstairs today in McHugh, and he was in the weight room. You know, so he's excited about coming back. He has some goals that he want to reach, and I'm excited to work with him every day to try to help him reach those goals. But I can't be more excited to have Ja back.
Is it true that he's not allowed to max out on the squat anymore? It's just too dangerous. He's got to go for reps. They got to bring the weight down and just go for total reps on the max?
Yeah, that's something him and Coach Smo worked through this summer. But I tell you what, he's a strong guy. Coach Smo and staff have done a phenomenal job. Not only just his strength, but I saw him grow, you know, flexibility-wise and movement-wise. But just who he is, man. You talk about having a chance to be a 3-time captain, you know, which are voted for by your peers, and that type of leadership coming back, I think, is invaluable for us. It's invaluable for our room and what we're trying to do on defense. So I couldn't be more excited than to welcome Big Ja back.
All right, Coach, what's next for you in these coming weeks?
Well, you know, it's whatever my wife tells me. So I think I'm going to go home and see my parents and come back and just spend as much time with my kids as I can before we get rolling again.
Can't wait. We'll see you in January.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait. Thanks, John.
That's Coach Kevin Downing. As our signing day special rolls on, we will be talking with Chris Slade, defensive ends coach here at Virginia and a Wahoo legend, next, as we continue to talk about this 2024 class of Virginia football players in our signing day special. And we will stick with the defensive line here as we now take a look at the edge rushers coming in for the Wahoos. And we got one who played edge rush here for the Cavaliers. I got the poster in my office, you and Terry Kirby. Are you the Thunder or the Lightning in the poster? It's defensive end coach Chris Slade.
Definitely Thunder.
Definitely the Thunder.
Yep.
You got some guys that are bringing the Thunder in this upcoming class. What are you excited about out of these new recruits?
I'm excited about both of them, Chase and Jewett coming in. They both are, very explosive, big kids, long, rangy. What you're looking for in that position. They're both coming from really, really good programs, high academic schools, so they'll be a good fit here at UVA, and good pedigree between, especially with the Hayes family and their background, and we're excited about them. We think they're going to be great fits. We did a lot of research, recruited them for a long time, and I think they'll be great fits here.
Yeah, so we'll start with Jewett Hayes from Archbishop Moeller High School in Cincinnati. This is a guy hyper athletic. And his family, their resumes are wild. His brother Jackson was an NBA lottery pick. His sister plays college hoops. How about mom? She averaged 50 points per game her senior year of college basketball at Drake. This is quite the athletic specimen.
She's getting buckets. Yeah, she could put it up, no doubt.
And we also need to mention his father, John, played 11 years in the NFL.
Yeah, Jonathan and I actually competed against each other a lot when I was with the Patriots, and he was with the Steelers playing tight end, and he also won a championship, the Dallas team with the XFL. So he's been around a long time. He's had a lot of success.
All right, so let's see the tape on Jewett Hayes, defensive end commit for the Cavaliers out of the high school ranks in Cincinnati. I was talking to Justin Sparrows, recruiting coordinator. He said he resembles Chico Bennett a little bit, and then I turned on the tape and he wears number 15.
Yeah, and when I first watched Jewett on tape, that's the first thing I said was he does remind me a lot of Chico. Like I said, he can run. He's athletic, he's twitchy, he can bend, and he loves football. I went to one of the playoff games a month or so ago, and just to watch him run around and play as hard as he did, and he just gets rave reviews from everyone in the program. Really, really good player.
From a high school that produced double-digit NFL players, also the high school of King Griffey Jr., so a long athletic history at that program.
Yes, a lot of history, a lot of good players. Sam Hubbard, we know Cincinnati's finest. They've got when you go watch that team play, you can see why they're a perennial powerhouse every year. And Jewett is one of those guys who does a great job. He has a younger brother, Jonah. Hopefully we'll get a chance to recruit him and get him up here as well.
And Jewett, 6'4", 220. Where do you see his frame being in a couple years?
He's such a long kid and big. I could see him getting to the 45, 50 range. He obviously can carry with his length and his size. Like I said, his family's all tall people, so I don't expect him to be any slight.
All right, we go from Cincinnati now to the state of Georgia, and Chase Morrison from Roswell High School in Georgia. This guy is absolutely relentless.
Yeah, Chase is, again, another kid from a really good program at Roswell. I had the opportunity to coach down in Georgia for 11 years, so they got a lot of good football players down there, and I think we were able to strike pretty good last year with Mackay, and this year going back and getting Chase. Like I said, he's in the 6A football, which is one of the bigger classifications in Georgia, and he was last year Player of the Year, and this year he's come back out, and he's had another really good season. He's big, physical. He'll probably be more of a DN candidate when it's all said and done. But the thing I like about Chase is a lot of times young guys don't really know what they don't know. He understands what he doesn't know, and he'll work on his craft. Where some of his deficiencies are, he'll compensate by doing other things. He studies the game. He's a football junkie. He really loves to play football. He studies it. He understands a lot of things that a lot of kids his age don't know. I can already tell by talking to him. So I'm excited about getting him in. He's going to be coachable. He's going to be a big-time player for us.
And he had 2 other ACC schools in his top 5, and he's coming right here to Charlottesville. So let's see what we're getting in Chase Morrison from Roswell High School in Georgia. This is not for the faint of heart. He is crushing quarterbacks on some of these plays.
Right here, you see him, good instincts, drops in coverage, got a pick. Here you got him coming off the edge. Again, he's real crafty. He understands angles, rush lanes, integrity. Does a good job getting the quarterback depth, coming back underneath. I just like because he's savvy. I mean, he's not going to wow you with a lot of athleticism. Not saying he's not, but I mean, he understands angles. He understands how to play the game. And I like kids like him as he's tough, he's gritty. He's going to fight. He's going to use his hands. He's going to understand how to play the run, also how to drop in coverage. So I think he's light years beyond most kids, I say, coming in as freshmen. Most kids who come in earlier just kind of run around blocks, but Chase understands the game.
He's going to enroll early for you guys, so a chance to get your hands on him real quick.
Yeah, he will be here in a couple weeks along with Jewett, and I just want to give a special shout out to the Chico Bennett and Ben Smiley and Cam Butler, who will be back, because those are the guys who laid the foundation for that position in particular. So those will be three that the young guys can really learn from. We're excited about that room and that whole group.
Yeah, tell us about that moment where Cam Butler says, "I'm coming back for 7th year of college football." That was a big get for you guys in the offseason.
He was the biggest recruit, I think. Getting him back, I really fell in love with Cam. He's super coachable, really bought into what we're doing here in Coach Elliott's mission. He's done a really good job for us, and I think the young guys really respect him, and they want to make sure they don't disappoint him. I call him my player coach now. He sits in the meetings, and I'll sometimes defer to him on some things we should do and how we should practice. And once a player and a coach trust one another, you can have a type of relationship, and I think that's what he and I have right now, because he has a good knowledge and a good sense of the game, and I'll lean on him for a lot of things as well.
All right, Coach, signing day down. What's next for the Slade family?
It's going to take some time off like the rest of the coaches. Head down to Georgia to see my kids and try to be a good Santa Claus and a good dad.
Sounds good. You got the plan ready. So thanks so much for coming by, and congrats on these recruits.
Appreciate you having us.
That's defensive end coach Chris Slade, Wahoo alum. We'll talk with another Wahoo alum, Clint Sentum, when we talk about the linebackers on our signing day special. But first, a message from another Virginia former football player.
What's up, Future Who's? Charles Snowden here, class of 21, and I just want to congratulate you guys on committing to the University of Virginia. Welcome to the family, man. This is the best decision you'll ever make, and I can't wait to see each and every one of you in Charlottesville at the University of Virginia. Go Who's!
We just talked with Wahoo alum Chris Slade. Let's talk with another Wahoo alum. So we now move to the linebacking core and linebacking coach Clint Sentum, Virginia graduate. And Coach, we got one guy to talk about, and we got another guy to talk about who's coming back, because this time last year we were celebrating the commitment of Cam Robinson on this very day. He made you sweat it out there. He didn't make you sweat it out so much this time around as he's coming back for his sophomore year.
Yeah. Really excited about what Cam's been able to accomplish. He came in, he worked, and he developed, and the coaches put a plan in place, and he's had some success. So we're really excited about him.
And you like guys that can go sideline to sideline and cover some grounds. Take us through what Clint Sentum likes in linebackers when you're scouting guys in high school in the portal.
Yeah, you want your guys to be versatile. You want to be able to run, like you said, sideline to sideline, be able to have some length, and a willingness to be physical. What you see in Cam, you see in James, you saw in Josh Ahern, all of those guys had similar traits. And then the one piece that you can't always determine on film is the leadership piece. We call ourselves the LBC. And those guys have embraced it, and it's something we kind of carry on. And, hopefully Miles can continue to add to that.
What does the LBC stand for?
Well, it means two things. It's linebacker core, and we've been calling ourselves that for quite some time. That was something here at Virginia, even before I played here. And then there was another addition that we added to it, which is leaders by choice. Just doing the right things in the classroom, obviously first and foremost, and then doing the right things on the field. So those guys have a big voice. Coach Rudd gives those guys an opportunity to communicate and help establish where guys line up on the defense, and they embrace it. So we're thankful for the opportunity.
All right, you mentioned your prototype for linebackers. Let's talk about the guy that you're bringing in, Miles Brown from Ridgeview High School in South Carolina. You got to be excited about him.
Super excited about Miles. First and foremost, he's a great kid, a great young man, let me say. But he's got length. He's got athleticism, and he's got some toughness to him. So I think, the future for him and his upside is huge. We're just excited to see him develop it.
And he's only 195 pounds, so can't wait till Coach Smotherman gets after him. He's coming in early, too, in January, right?
He is. But I think the biggest piece that you said, Coach Smo will do an outstanding job with them. They have with all our guys. Enza, who's already had some communication with them. But they'll continue to build him and develop. And like I said, once he puts on that weight and he develops, I really think we got something special there.
All right, let's see the tape on Miles Brown, linebacker from Ridgeview High School in South Carolina. Violent guy, also pretty quiet off the field, though, right?
Yeah. He doesn't say much, but he speaks with his play. As you can see there, he drove on the ball with the violent finish, covers just running back in the flat, wraps up, makes a good tackle, and then this is some of the versatility that you see with him rushing off the edge, and then he closes, goes down a level. One of the phrases that Coach Rudd uses all the time. Plays a little bit in the box there, slipping a block, and then making a tackle for a TFL. And then this is the piece that you really like to see. Now he's covering receivers, makes a TFL. Screen play, triggers, another good form tackle, puts him on the ground there. So, he's long, he's rangy, he's versatile. You can see there he bends and sinks. He does a multitude of things. And then as you mentioned, once you put the weight on this kid, I think you really got something special. He's got an NFL frame. He's just got to pick up the NFL weight, and then hopefully we can get him to the point where he performs like Cam did the year before.
And he was a guy that we kind of uncovered. You were his first Power 5 offer, and he committed in October.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to, how we do things and him just buying into the process. He came down to see us in the summer, and at that point we weren't quite ready to go on him. He continued to improve his senior film. He just continued to develop over and over. He stayed in contact. We offered him, I think, early on in the season, and fortunately enough for us, he decided to come with us. So once again, super excited about him. Great family, great mom and dad, and I think they're a perfect fit for what we're trying to build here at Virginia.
All right, Coach, love what you're doing with the linebacking core. Young, experienced, too, with James Jackson coming back.
Yeah.
Excited for next year in your linebacking crew.
Yes, sir.
The
Thank
LBC,
you.
I should call it.
Wahoo wah.
That's Clint Sitzel, Cavalier linebacker coach. We'll take one more break. When we come back, Tony Elliott, Cavalier head coach, will wrap up our signing day special as we celebrate the class of 2024. We'll talk with the head coach next. Welcome back to our signing day special. Time for the grand finale as we celebrate the class of 2024. All of these players, 18 of them, have committed to play for this man, the head coach of the Virginia Cavaliers. That, of course, is head coach Tony Elliott. And Coach, congratulations on this class. Fans are excited. I know the administration is excited. Everybody in this room is excited about this group of not just football players, but scholar athletes that are coming in here. How excited are you for this class?
I'm very excited, but first I gotta, I can't take the credit. It's all the folks that you've talked to already, all the folks behind us, a lot of individuals that you didn't get a chance to hear from. They're really the reason why these young men have chosen to further their education and football careers here with us at UVA.
What's this moment like when you wake up in the morning, the sun's coming up, and then the signings and the contracts and everything are coming through one by one, and your class goes from prospective to reality in the matter of about an hour?
It's a little bit different because it used to be everything by fax. Now it's all done electronically, but it's a cool moment because you get to, the night before you kind of start to feel the anticipation, a little bit like Christmas. The guys are sitting around, they can't wait to hit the button, and there's a race to see who's going to be the first one to get their NLI information in. But it's just an awesome, privilege to be a part of this process where they worked their entire lives to get to this point. And very grateful that they chose this staff and this institution to be a part of.
How many flights, long drives, late nights go into recruiting a class of 18 players?
It's a lot, and it's the entire staff. It's gotten actually pretty crazy. Relative to how it started and where it is now with the transfer portal, and man, you're all over the place. There's 11 different states that are represented amongst these 18 young men, and man, you could be in about 4 of those states in one day, just trying to get yourself in front of everybody, see the individuals that you need to see, and it's still a scholastic model, so you still want to incorporate the high school coach. So you're trying to get by high schools, you're trying to see the prospect, you're trying to see the parents. Then you might have to get out of high school mode, go into transfer mode, and you're in the home of a transfer guy at his campus. That's the craziest thing is you may be meeting with a guy, in a dorm room at another institution. Like that is kind of wild, but that's just the state of college football right now.
So it's a class of 18 players, 14 of them in high school, 4 transfers, maybe more coming in the future. But as it stands right now, what words would you use to describe this class as it is, the class of 2024?
Committed, driven, focused, intentional, passionate. They love football. They love their academics. They believe in what we're doing here. They're a tight-knit group. A lot of these guys especially these high school guys, were committed, back in the summer. And despite everything, that transpired throughout the course of the year, the ups and the downs, man, they stuck with us. And we only lost a couple guys that we had committed. The rest of the guys have been loyal. They're tight-knit. They're already like a family. So that's how I describe this class.
And what you also are doing in recruiting is recruiting your own roster. We've talked about that with the guys behind us who have come through before. What was that process like, and how excited are you to have some of those really young, impactful players back for another year and beyond here at UVA?
Yeah, so one of the 4 components of kind of the vision or the dream that I have for each one of these guys is number 3 is to love being a Cavalier. So I think it starts with creating a great environment all the time for these guys while they're here. Knowing that's going to be challenging. They're going to be challenged in the classroom. They're going to be challenged in football, but you can have fun. You can push when it's time to push. You can relax when it's time to relax. You can still incorporate family. You can have a great college experience despite maybe some of the external changes that are happening within college football. So that's where it starts. And the week after the season is pretty hectic because now it's, it kind of puts everybody on the spot. Like, what are you going to do? Are you staying? Are you leaving? Kind of who's talking to you? Is anybody messing with you? What are you thinking? So that week is pretty hectic, but really, really proud of the guys that had opportunities to leave but decided to come back. It says a lot about who they are first and foremost, that they are choosing to say, you know what, I want to stay here at the University of Virginia and continue to build upon the foundation that's been laid, even though they might have had some different opportunities that would seem enticing, but they chose to stay here and continue to do what's hard, do what's right, and I'm really, really proud of those guys.
Thrilled to have those guys back, thrilled to have these new players in this upcoming class. We're not quite done yet, though, in recruiting this class of 2024.
Yeah, got to continue to go. We still got some needs that we need to fill. We still got to go find us a quarterback. We need another tight end. Always looking for an outstanding offensive lineman to add to our group. We got to go get some corners to finish out. So we're still going to be active throughout the holiday season, and then also we'll go back and see if there's any high school guys that maybe decided not to sign that are great developmental guys that we can add. Because as you look at the breakdown, still want to be a developmental program and focus on the high school guys, and then supplement with the transfer guys when we need to, if the roster dictates.
All right, Coach. There's no off season in college football.
Right.
Is there an off day coming up for Coach Elliott?
An off day? Yeah, there's going to be a couple of off days. Actually, I got a little back procedure tomorrow, which is going to force me to kind of sit down for a couple of days. So I'll have a chance to rest a little bit and then enjoy some time with family. I challenge the staff too, man. Let's be intentional with the time with the family. Man, we've been running hard, and the month of January is going to be just as crazy and wild as half of December was. So we got to get ready. But after that, after the surgery, I'll just be hanging out at the house with the family.
Coach, best of luck with that, and so many good wishes on continued health for you and your family and everybody in your program.
I appreciate you. Happy holidays to you and your family. Man, I thank you for being a part of this show and helping us to continue to, push Virginia football forward, especially on the recruiting front.
Can't wait to see these guys in Charlottesville. Can't wait for year
Can't
number
wait
3.
either. Yes, sir. Thank
That's
you.
head coach Tony Elliott. That wraps up our signing day special here at the University of Virginia, welcoming in 18 new players in orange and blue. We'll finish with a graphic showing everybody that's joining this Cavalier football program, and then we'll hear from head coach Tony Elliott in his media press conference from earlier today. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us right here with the Virginia Cavaliers.
Let's just jump into the questions.
Wow. So, how do you go about striking the balance between adding transfers who can help you immediately and also adding guys who might need a year or two but will also be in the program longer?
Right. So I think philosophically you have to make a determination on who you are and what your program's about. And I've said from day one I want to be a developmental program. And with that, meaning that the bulk of your guys are going to be high school guys that you recruit and then you develop, and they become the good players over time. They also help you establish the culture and the environment. Now, with the way things are in college football, the ease of movement, you have to be ready to react. Roster management is it's a daily thing that you're working on, and so I think it starts philosophically. And for us, we want to be a developmental program and then supplement through the transfer portal as needed. And so that's how we strike the balance, and that's the approach that we take. And when you look at it, 18 total guys that we signed so far, and 13 of those are high school guys. And so we want to kind of keep that balance as long as we can. Now, what that also means too is we got to do a great job of retention of our guys. We got to develop our guys so that we can keep that balance. And then if it gets out of balance, then you may have a year where you just got to react. But philosophically, our approach is we want to be a developmental program.
Within the high school class, you have 6 early enrollees in this group. How important is getting those guys on grounds, and what stands out about this group of early enrollees?
Yeah, it's we actually added one, so we got 7 of those guys, and it's huge. And I think that's one of the larger numbers that have come in high school wise at UVA, and it allows them to get acclimated academically. When you're talking about from the player perspective, they get acclimated in the spring. They get a chance to go through 15 practices. classes, they get the winter workouts. It's huge. And so by the time you actually hit the grass in the fall, it's almost like they've had a year under their belt. So that transition doesn't take as much time. And then also it gives us an opportunity to evaluate and kind of see where they are and if they're going to be able to contribute early. You have a better idea of that. But, the guys that we do have coming early, man, just excited about these guys. And pretty much all but one, or actually two, were committed for a long time. We're guys that 5 of them were committed from last summer and kind of stayed the course with us. And then we added Cam Courtney and Miles Brown kind of in season with our evaluations and their recruiting process. So we get some guys and pretty much at all different positions. We have guys coming in offensively and defensively that I'm excited. And I think we have some core guys that are about what the program's about. So they'll have a chance to get a head start on immersing themselves in the culture, and then they'll be able to also communicate that out to the guys in their class that are coming in the summer.
What's the biggest difference in trying to pitch a high school recruit versus a transfer recruit, and how does the speed, I guess, play a factor in that, knowing the portal is quick and fast?
Yeah, so it's two different worlds. Me personally, I would like everything to be relational as much as possible and not transactional. But when you're dealing with a high school kid, it's a lot more relational because this is their first time going through it. So, man, they're taking everything in, and their approach is more so a holistic approach. They're looking at every aspect of the equation in terms of academics, football, just transition to college, all of that. So it's a lot more relational. You're educating them on what the future is going to look like. When you're dealing with a transfer, it kind of depends on undergrad versus grad transfer, and it's almost like speed dating, to be honest with you. It happens fast because you can't talk to them until they get into the portal. The portal doesn't open until December 5th, right? And here we are, December 20th. So, and a lot of these guys in the portal are already making decisions, right? So basically you got a 2-week window to try to develop a relationship, evaluate it, and they're typically more pointed on what they're looking for. They've been through some of just the fluff of recruiting, so to speak, right? They've done the photo shoots, they've done a lot of those things. They want to know more about, okay, I'm leaving this institution to come to this institution. I have specific criteria that I'm looking for. You're able to kind of get right down to what it is that they're looking for. For a high school kid, they're still trying to figure it out, right? So you're trying to educate them on what they should be looking for as opposed to a transfer guy that pretty much knows what he's looking for. But the timing is really different. And it's also is speeding up some of the high school stuff too, because with the portal, some of the high school kids that thought they had opportunities, now might not have those opportunities because a program may favor a more experienced transfer guy for that particular spot. So it's a juggling act, but each one you kind of know where they are and what they've had exposure to, and then you just try to be able to educate them and provide them the information that they need relative to where they are to make the best decision.
You have quite a few guys from the state of Virginia on here. Just talk about the challenges of trying to rebuild that trust and relationship around the state and how you feel where you are right now. Right.
So we got, I think, 6 total from the state of Virginia, 4 high school, 2 transfers right now so far, and we're still working, and we'll continue to work throughout this time up until the next signing day. And as I said, Virginia is a priority inside out. I want to do it with guys in state, and I feel like we made a run at all the top players in the state, and we got in the race with some of them and came down to the final 2, and then some we weren't able to get into the race because they had already had established relationships. I think, for us, the biggest thing is making sure that the guys that we do have, right, they have a great experience. And so far, the guys that are from Virginia are having a good experience here, and I think that resonates with the coaches. I think the addition of a couple of guys coming back to Virginia is going to help us because they see they kind of create create some interest with especially the younger high school guys that may not have had, a connection to Virginia, but now they see some of these older guys that were high profile coming back. It's like, okay, well, then maybe let's take a look at what's going on at Virginia. I think we have to work at, breaking some stigmas and some stereotypes about UVA that may have been warranted or unwarranted, right? We have to educate them on what UVA is right now. And the only way we can do that is be consistent in the schools. The players that fit what we're looking for, we got to recruit them hard, provide them every opportunity to come, and when they do come, have success, but then also make sure that we're delivering on the deliverables, that they're having a great experience, we're making sure that they're progressing academically, they're developing football-wise, and as we do those things, I think the relationships will continue to improve. But want to sign as many guys from the state of Virginia as we possibly can, and I know the staff and myself are making a run at all the top players, and it's just going to take us, more time, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
And it appears you did a really good job of retaining your players. Did you do anything different this year, or?
Yeah, I think last year, we're in two different spots. Last year we were coming off, a situation that, is unfathomable, right? And then you had guys that were in a position where they had finished, their degrees, and then they have that, and, there's opportunities out there from an NIL standpoint. There was a lot of different factors. This year, I think the guys had been through now, I'd say almost a normal year, right, with the staff, better relationships. I think the guys saw the investment in them from a program standpoint, both in-house and then also in the NIL space, trying to improve those opportunities for them. They felt like they could get whatever they needed from a development standpoint with the staff. So I don't know if we did anything different as much as we just had another year of time together. It was a little bit more of a normal cycle, even though we did have some, external things that we had to deal with. And I think that the guys also are a little bit more educated on what the reality is out there. I don't think their perception is the reality when it comes to going in the portal for NIL and all those type of things. So I think they feel good about the development opportunities, the relationships, the direction that we're headed, and then the work that was done by the athletic department and our supporters to help them have opportunities from an NIL standpoint.
You go on Twitter some and you see Calandria and Cam Robinson kind of advocating for some guys to come to Virginia out of the portal. What does that say about your program that they are helping recruit, and how helpful is that?
I'm grateful for those guys because those were a couple of the early individuals to believe in what we're doing here as a program and what our program's about holistically. And then they had early success, and they want to be advocates for what's going on within the program. And I'm not on Twitter as much, so I don't see what they're doing, but I appreciate the work that they're doing. But it's just a testament to the fact that they're having a good experience. They feel like they're being developed. They feel like they're being taken care of. They're having opportunities to grow, and then they believe in the direction that we're headed. And good players want to play with good players, and so they're doing their part as well to help recruit the top guys that have an opportunity to come back.
And then sticking on the portal, you got Chris Tyree from Notre Dame. Obviously, you wish Malik Washington could play here forever, but his one season here, what kind of impact has that had on bringing in other wide receivers?
I think it just illustrates what's possible. And obviously, we talk about, as coaching staff, we have a vision for what we want to do offensively, defensive, special teams-wise, the direction that we're headed. But to have Malik have the type of year that he had just kind of opens up people's eyes to what's possible. So when you have conversations with them, then you have the proof, and you say, okay, well, here's a guy who he bet on himself last year, went into the portal, believed in what we're doing, and he came and he had production. And so those opportunities are available to you if you desire to come to the University of Virginia. And so it's a credit to Malik's work. You can't take anything away from Malik, man. He put in the work, he earned it, but also it opens up some eyes and creates a little bit of a spotlight on what's possible through what we're doing here at UVA.
I think last year you added 4 players, all of them transfers after signing day, guys who came after the spring semester. When you look at the roster now, I mean, A, are you expecting to add more players, and B, what positions need to be filled out at this point?
Yeah, so we'll continue to not just recruit the portal, but also, go back and see which high school guys, may not have signed, that pushed their signing out, to see if there's some good developmental guys out there. But quarterback is a position where we're continuing to look in both aspects to find the right potential fit with our numbers at quarterback. We're good at running back. Tight end, we'll continue to actively look at tight end. Wide out, we're still recruiting at wide out. O-line, we feel like we're in a pretty good spot with the 3 young guys that we brought in, and then also adding Drake. Defensively, on the D-line, we feel like we're in good shape. Also, with all those guys, those 4 guys coming back on the D-line, really helped us out there, kind of slows it down until the next cycle. Linebacker, if we find the right one at linebacker. Safety, we feel like we're in a good spot, but we got to be really active at corner. Yeah, we got to go, beef up our numbers at corners and find some experienced guys that can come in here and compete. And then also be looking for potentially a long snapper.
Let me follow up. In the running back room, I know Paris's career here is over. Mike moving on, presumably, and then
so you got
Foston
and Cody Brown have moved on, but you got Xavier Brown returning. You have Dante Hawthorne. You have Greasy is a guy that's been in there, and then you got Kobe Pace. And then you got Noah Vaughn. Yeah. So we got 4 scholarship guys and a really good high level walk on that could be a scholarship guy at other places. So right now we're sitting at that number. So the previous cycles we were a little bit heavy at running back. And now we need to prioritize those numbers, in a different spot, and we feel good about the 5 that we have in the room right now.
At tight end, you added Tyler Neville.
Yeah.
Do you want to use the tight end more in the passing game? Is that the thought with bringing Neville in?
Oh, no doubt. And even, in the past, we wanted to use a tight end. And the way that I kind of explain, the situation is I go back to my personal experience when I was coordinating. When we had the tight end body, it was the tight end was pretty dynamic. And then when you didn't quite have that body, that's when Hunter Renfro kind of came on the scene, right? Because he took. And then so that's what you saw out of Malik. Like Malik took some of those play concepts that typically you would like a bigger body tight end to be there, but the tight end's got to be able to stretch the field. He's got to be able to do all those things. So adding Tyler with his production and his body type, we definitely want to get the tight end more involved. And then it balances us out too, right? So then now it spreads the distribution a little bit. It forces the defense to have to declare a little bit quicker. So definitely want to get the tight end more involved, and being that we're predominantly 11 personnel offense, you don't want to become super predictable in passing situations by constantly having to motion or formation a certain way when certain concepts, you typically want to use your tight end for.
And then you mentioned the returning D-line guys.
Mm-hmm.
What was your message to them, and you're surprised at all that they all decided to come back?
I knew if Cam was given an opportunity, he wanted to, because it's just unfortunate for him. I thought he was trending in a great direction from an NFL standpoint. I thought he was having a great season, and then that gets cut short, and then the recovery time would put him where he's missing combine, he's missing pro days, and so I don't know if he had enough body of work. And so, we knew that if he was granted an additional year, he would come back. Chico was one that I wasn't sure on because he has enough body of work to test the waters and get a shot, but he wanted to he made the decision that he wanted to come back and improve. Smiley had told me early on that I had him for a couple years, so I was just trying to hold him true to his word when he told me that. And then John Carter was kind of on the bubble, and so there was 2 of them that I thought we had a good chance. The other 2 I just didn't know, because they played a lot of football, and the NFL is, that's something they've dreamed about. But the message to them was hey man, if you're gonna come back, let's go to work. Let's figure out what it is we need to do to help you improve, so you can improve your opportunities for the next level. Come back, lead, and then let's go finish what we started.
Kind of following up on that, Brian Stevens today
Yeah.
also announced that he will come back. How
Right.
big is
That's
him
huge.
coming back?
That's huge, and just a credit to him, and really, kind of the ability of the staff to evaluate. Here's a guy that was a non-scholarship guy at Dayton that comes in and he's honorable mention all ACC, and really what you saw is when he took over at center, we kind of just had a calming effect on the offense and kind of stabilized it, and really that's where you got to be strong is at your center and at your quarterback position, and that helped the young quarterback when he was in there. So that's huge. He brings a ton of leadership, ton of experience. So excited about having him back. That was probably it's kind of crazy when you got signing day, but sometimes you're celebrating just the guy staying on your roster as much. So that was a huge get for us as a program.
I think his decision came around when Drake Metcalf also committed around that same time period. What did you like about Drake when you saw him, and what do you like about his versatility of playing like center and guard?
Yeah, it gives us option there, and obviously so now you feel good with three guys that can snap the ball that have all done it in live action. But what Drake brings is, man, he brings a toughness, like he plays on the edge, a nasty demeanor about himself, complete gentleman off the field. He's an experienced guy. He's got versatility. He doesn't have much of an ego. There's already a cohesion and a chemistry between he and Coach Heff. So there were a lot of things that were very attractive about Drake. And, he's kind of been through this one time before. So now okay, he's already been through this. He knows exactly what he wants. And so he found that here at UVA. He already meshed well with the guys while he was here on the visit, because part of it is when we bring these guys in, we want feedback from the players too and tell us, okay, does this guy fit where we're trying to go? So it was just a good match all the way around.
You were confident on this day last year that Cam Robinson had the potential to contribute as a true freshman.
Yeah.
When you look at the incoming freshman group, do you see players or a player, like that who you feel the same way about?
Yeah, when I look at the list of guys, I'm excited about Kiki. Kiki Adams, he's a guy on the back end. Miles' athleticism, may need a little time in the weight room to develop. Cam Courtney, I'm excited. I think Cam Courtney is a guy that can contribute both in the return game and then at receiver. And really excited about what he brings coming from a championship caliber program. The young linemen, you'd like to not put that pressure on the young offensive linemen. Kevon may be a guy that might have to, at corner. The guys in the trenches, Jewett and Chase, we'll see when they get here. Tyler Simmons is a guy that I could see kind of like a Jason last year as we get into the season, being a guy that could be a rotational guy. But you never know. But I think if I had to say, I'd say Cam Courtney, Kiki, and then possibly Tyler as I project. But again, we got to wait till they get here and see where they are when they arrive.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Courtney, just how important it was to get a guy like that after he decommitted, and he had a lot of options. How big a step is that in getting a guy like him?
Man, huge, because it's an in-state guy and a guy that we went on early, and then he ended up deciding to leave the state, and then an opportunity presented itself, and we jumped on it. And the program that he's coming from, Coach Overton does a great job with those guys. I mean, they've won back-to-back state titles, undefeated seasons, and so not only are you getting the talent, but you're also getting the championship character and somebody that can speak to what it takes and what it's like. And so it's a huge get. He's a very versatile guy too. He can play a lot of positions, man. He obviously we're gonna start him at wide out, but he could play corner. He's a kick returner, and he's just a football player. So I think for me, what's exciting is he's a football player. He's from the state of Virginia. He knows how to win, and those are all pluses for us.
some of the guys could possibly fly in a little bit underneath the radar, like Jewett Hayes, I think, was one of the guys. What did you like about him, and is he one of those guys that you think could be, I guess, better than their ranking, or someone that could kind of pick up later on?
Right. What you like about Jewett is the upside. I mean, he's long. I just saw him last week. Went by the school, and he's every bit of 6'4", and his arms are down to the ground. He's got twitch, as we like to say in this business. He's explosive, still developing. His body's only going to expand. So I think he's a guy. Him and Chase as well. Chase, when you see Chase, man, Chase is continuing to fill out his body. So I think with both of those guys, what you like is the upside and the potential. So you have some really, really good raw materials that you can kind of shape into some really good players when it's all said and done. So the upside is what you really like, the athleticism, and then their frame and the projection on how big their frames can get.
You mentioned that you're looking for another quarterback or would be open to that. What's the situation going to be in the spring? Is Tony Muskett going to be available, or is he recovering?
Yeah, so I think Tony had surgery on his shoulder, doing well. Talked to him the other day. And in spring, what we're anticipating is he'll be able to throw a little bit, but you got to be very, very careful with getting contact, right? So he wouldn't be available for any kind of contact stuff, but should be able to start back throwing. So that's what we anticipate for the spring.
I guess along those lines, is it tough to sell the quarterback room when you have two guys who have played?
Yes and no. Like, I think, one, the quarterback recruiting right now is crazy, and you guys that follow the portal and everything that's going on, it's just it always was accelerated. So the quarterback recruiting was always accelerated, always happened faster than any other position group, but naturally so, right? Now it's crazy, and for us, we were more targeting younger developmental guys, right, to keep the distribution. But even those guys, man, at the high school level, man, those guys are hard to come by. And so I think it's more a function of just the state of quarterback recruiting. And then when you do have two guys that have had production and had success to a certain extent, it does. Especially in the transfer world, younger guys, maybe not so much because there's distribution, there's spacing, but in the transfer world, it does make for a difficult conversation.
And then on Cam Courtney, did you guys get a chance to see him when he was in the state title game right at Scottsdale?
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I was really excited and really appreciate Blanda and the facilities crew and everybody's work that was involved in pushing to have the games hosted here in Charlottesville. And it was fun to watch, everybody that played. Man, those were some exciting games, high-level football, ton of talent on the field, and from all four teams, competitive. They were back and forth, so it was fun. But yeah, you got a chance to see his versatility out of the backfield, carrying the ball, catching the ball, and also in the return game.